Less than 2 years ago, my guest picked up and moved his family of 7 to a small town in Georgia to follow a calling in his career, but it came with a big pay cut. Instead of missing out on the opportunity because of a reduced salary, he instead turned his attention to supplementing his income with a side hustle so he could afford to take and keep the job he always wanted. His name is Gary, and he was busy raising 5 boys with his equally hardworking wife when he came across SiteSwan, and quickly realized that the opportunity and potential to sell websites to small businesses was just as ripe and profitable in a small town like his as it might be anywhere else. So he signed up, followed the training, and quickly built up a client base and recurring revenue stream working only part-time hours that has now started to involve his entire family. He's now working on scaling his business, and his sights are set on making this a real legacy that will even outlast himself. I'm thrilled for you all to have the opportunity to learn from a SiteSwan reseller who has proven the model can work anywhere. He's inspiring, motivating, and is always lifting up the people around him, even you, if you stick around and watch this whole interview. I'm absolutely honored to welcome Gary from Kingdom Web Pros to speak with me. Gary, thank you so much for being here with me today.
It is my pleasure, Justin, to be here. Thank you for the invite.
So to get everything started here today, I'd love to hear about your background a little bit. What can you share about yourself so that people can get to know Gary a little better?
Sure. Ever since I was a child at 11 years old, faith became a real big part of my life. I won't get into the whole story, but suffice it to say, it really transformed my entire family when my father put his faith in the Lord. And he was an alcoholic at the time. It changed his life, and it changed my family's dynamic. And so I committed my life to Christ. And from a young boy, I've always wanted to serve the Lord. So, of course, I'm a minister. Been preaching since I was 18. Been pastoring since 2008. And so I'm what they call a bivocational pastor, which simply means I pastor a small church that can't afford to give me a full-time salary. So I supplement my income through any means necessary to make the mission work. And so that's a brief of who I am and what I'm about.
Now, I mentioned that you have 5 kids and they're all boys, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And do they get involved at all with helping you with the web design business?
They do, actually. In fact, every day, every one of them spends some amount of time prospecting, trying to secure their own leads and their own books of business. Of course, they're really just getting into it and learning the ropes. But I've got 4 clients spread out between my 5 sons right now that are considered their book of clients. And so it's pretty exciting that they are learning the ropes and starting to build their own clients and their own little side hustle, so to speak.
Out of curiosity, what methods do they use to prospect?
Well, word of mouth, of course, is big. Also, a lot of Facebook messaging, just reaching out to people on Facebook and using some kind of an appeal that might pique their interest, offering free demos. Them being as young as they are and some of them being in school, they even kind of use that angle a little bit and say, look, I'm learning the ropes, and my family business is offering a 10% discount for anyone willing to let us get some practice on you. And we kind of get creative with it, and we've had some positive response that way.
Wow.
So
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So based on your background, you don't really have a ton of experience building websites at all. Is that right? So what were you?
It was never my.
Go ahead.
That was never my primary thing. I was an office manager for well over 15 years when I lived in Mississippi for a gentleman who was also a bivocational pastor, but I helped him manage his construction company. And in the process of doing that, he had needs for websites for ministries and his company. And one day, I want to say it was back as far as 2010, he asked me, hey, look around, see who we can hire to build some websites. After a lot of extensive research, we wasn't happy with any of them. And so he said, all right, I'm going to just pay you to figure it out. So he paid me on an hourly wage to just do some digging, and because he figured I could do it. And of course, we were able to pull off something, back then it was a different platform, of course, but over the years ended up moving his stuff to other platforms. I think we ended up at WordPress, and I would manage his stuff for him. And I just started taking an interest in that world to further publish material for our ministry, obviously. And so it became a point of interest for me on the side, even though it wasn't ever a source of income for me until I moved to Georgia and had to figure out how to make a living with it.
Interesting. So when you found SiteSwan, you were had just moved to Georgia. You were looking to supplement your income, and you probably said to yourself, well, what kind of previous work experience can I apply to a side business? And is that what piqued your interest with SiteSwan?
Yeah, actually, interesting enough, I don't think I told you this in our pre-interview, Justin, but your algorithms found me. There was a ad on Facebook that popped up. It was about SiteSwan's white label program, and it piqued my interest. I watched it, and it just pulled me right in. I was an immediate sales. I can do this. I know I can do this, So that was pretty cool. But it just fit because I had enough knowledge about that world to know that you guys empowered me to do what I was always afraid to do, which is to try to make it a business. Because I know that building sites and maintaining sites on, like, say, for example, another platform can be so complicated, and every client's demands are different. And I don't know, I knew the intricate details of how it could be frustrating, even from just having one theme versus another theme. You don't have the same options for updating things, and you have to figure it out, literally go to school for every single website you would build because of the way the themes work. And when I saw SiteSwan, I said, this is the way to do it. I knew I could build and maintain sites on your platform very easily. And so it was an instant sale for me, and I'm glad that I bit the bullet on it.
So you started this when you moved into a new state. Was it difficult at all to sell websites when you didn't really know anyone? Or did this serve as a way to kind of help you get introduced to people locally?
It's been challenging. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's also been a lot less challenging, I believe, if I didn't have the proper tools. And so I have been able, in 2 years, I know I've got over 30 clients. And I know that's not just, in some people's mind, maybe booking it, but for me, I like that pace. And because if you go too fast, it's overwhelming. And plus, I'm adding stuff as I go to supplement offers for my clients, like in bundle deals, SEO and PPC and social media management, blogging. I've been able to go at a pace where I can figure out how to weave other offers in. And as I'm building it, my offers are looking greater. My SEO is picking up locally where people are starting to find me more. I'm getting more Google calls, also getting more word of mouth, and it just takes time. So I would say this, because I'm a pastor and because that, at least in the minds of some people, has some credibility in and of itself, that automatically for me causes people to relax a little bit. And not everybody, but most people here in the South anyway, they're at least willing to hear me out, and I don't always start with, hey, I'm a pastor, obviously, because it's not about the ministry, it's about what I can do for the client. But sometimes that kind of softens the blow. So to answer your question, it's been a mix of challenging and easy. There's no straight up answer for that. I have had some that was just an easy sale. As soon as I showed them what I was offering, they was immediate, and then some of them have waited 2 or 3 months and they've come around. And I would encourage people, don't ever underestimate the power of a sown seed, because they may circle back around in 2 or 3 months, and it's had its challenges, but it's a lot easier than it would have been if I didn't have your tools.
Right. And a lot of people too, I think, are hesitant to be super honest and candid and I'm going to say vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think that vulnerability that you show to people when you're in the sales process can actually be super beneficial, because traditionally, I think for a lot of people, a salesperson is someone who is fake, phony, not being themselves kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think by revealing what you do for a living outside of this, it reveals vulnerabilities on multiple levels that I think people can immediately let down their guard and trust you. And I think that's something everyone can learn from. I think that's actually a really great
Yeah.
technique or tactic, that I don't care what your profession is outside of website sales, what your passions are,
Yeah.
what you're interested in. Let that come through. Be yourself. Have a real conversation with your potential clients, because that might help you establish a real relationship with someone
Sure.
that you just can't fake your way into.
Yeah, and if you followed sales tactics and bought all the how to close the sale on that, I'm sure there's benefit in all of that. But if you don't have that fundamental foundational relationship with your client that is built upon trust, you may get short-term sales, but you won't have a long-term legacy. And so I've always thought you may have to build it slower, going the candid route, so to speak, just being genuine and authentic and dropping the fake stuff and the plasticky feeling sales pitches. It may take you a little bit longer because you're not putting those spins that demand a response immediately and all that. But in the long run, once you've got someone there, you can keep them a lot longer. I sincerely do believe that. I'm seeing that. In fact, I haven't had one customer cancel on me since I've signed them up building my business so far, and that's really cool to me. So
that's awesome. And I actually hear that a lot, Gary, because of the fact that people are, businesses, as you probably have realized by now, have sort of a set it and forget it mentality with their website, where as long as they like you and they like the product or service they're getting, they really have no reason to cancel.
Right.
And especially if your price is affordable and reasonable, they really have no. So you've built up this book of business, 30 plus sites, and about how many hours are you devoting on a weekly basis to this, that you were able to get to that point?
Oh, wow. That's hard for me to gauge. I will guesstimate 20 plus hours a week. It doesn't take that much to manage my existing clients, but I also weave in a consistent, healthy pattern of prospecting. And so that's a very
right. I mean, your door has already been knocked on twice since we started talking today.
Right. Yeah. So case in point. But so it's hard to put a number on that because I don't clock in and clock out, but that's a good guess, I guess.
So take me back to the beginning. Take me to your first website sale you ever made using SiteSwan. What was that like?
My first actual sale, I think I gave away 2 or 3 sites just to get the learning curve behind me and to impress some people and have something for them to look at. But my actual sale, you're going to laugh at this. I sold the website for like $250 because I was desperate. But it was my first sale, and here's how I did it. I was actually looking on Facebook at other, because once you start talking about, y'all have ever noticed you start talking about stuff, the algorithms start throwing leads at you. And I started talking about building my own website, and so I get these other companies that are offering websites for little to nothing. I'm getting these ads, and so I got the bright idea to start reading the comments for complaints. And so I thought, well, maybe I can find somebody that's not happy with them that they consider using me. Well, this actually worked. The guy lives in the metro Atlanta area. He's a dog trainer by trade. Actually, he was just starting his dog training business, and he needed a good website, and I was desperate for money, and so I sold him a website for like $250, and that was my first sale, and it felt good, even though I had to, barter with him a little bit. And it's funny though, since then his business is booming. He's on target to make over $250,000 this year, and he has since revamped his website and paid me full price for it. And he's also an SEO client, so that little bit of investment up front paid off.
Whoa! So I heard you say SEO. So tell me about that. You have additional services that you're selling to certain clients?
Yes. In fact, it's a team that I found that works well with me. We partner together. I don't do the actual work. I do sub it out, but we work well together, and it's another white label option. And there are many of those out there. If anybody's interested in looking into that, of course, you could reach out to me if you want to, but you can find some good reputable ones. Just do your homework, make sure that they're, they've been in it for a while and they know what they're doing, But what we do is we found someone that offers it wholesale for white laborers like myself, and I mark it up at least where I'm making as much as they are, if not more. And right now, my smallest package is $600 for a local SEO package, $600 a month, and I will net roughly $300 a month off of it per client. And I've got now 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, possibly 5 clients here in the next couple of weeks that are already on board.
Wow.
So it's a quick way to jump your revenue stream on a monthly basis. And what I like about it is once you do the initial setup of it, it's another almost a set it and forget it, because the SEO team takes it from there and they promise performance every month. They do professional reports with your branding on it, and it shows them where we're tracking keywords and where they're gaining, and they guarantee so many gains a month where they don't pay. And there's a right way to do it, and I feel like I found a winning combination, and my clients seem to be very happy. So
nice. Now,
yeah.
is that a service that usually they come to you asking about, or you pitch them about?
Both. Honestly, a lot of these smaller business owners, when they come to me, I am their website, all things internet academy. They have no clue about anything, and they're trusting me to tell them everything. I literally signed up a client last week that paid $3,300 for a website. And she said, I know nothing about this. I'm trusting you to hold my hand and walk me through the entire process. I want your SEO. I want your pay-per-clicks. I want your social media. I want everything you got. So we're walking through that process now, building her site and getting her vamped up for
What's
SEO. So.
really interesting about that, Gary, is that I've long said this about selling websites to small businesses, is that businesses instill a tremendous amount of trust in their web designer.
Yes.
Like when I was selling websites and out there on the streets, I would talk to business owners and they would tell me everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
How much they're spending on their print advertising, how much their restaurants, how much their food costs were. They would tell me how much they're paying their delivery drivers and how, like, everything. The amount of trust they have. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why being able to establish trust with someone in the beginning gets their buy-in. Because they often get confused by anything digital. And they need to know that the person who they're going to be asking questions to of this space, they can trust to get an accurate answer from. And if they are going to divulge additional information to help you do your job better, which often is necessary, you know, like if you're asking a small business owner which parts of their business they want to focus on this season or this year, they are going to probably have a discussion about certain parts of their business that they saw growth in, as opposed to others they have seen kind of fall by the wayside. And that requires a lot of candidness and something that they need to be able to trust you with that information so that you can only apply it to helping them rather than any other purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. And also back to your question, you asked me, do I come to them or do they come to me? I said a little bit of both. I've already answered the one side where I come to them, but I had a client just a couple weeks ago that I've had for over a year. They just did their annual renewal on their subscription for the monthly updates. I do $4.90 a year. I give them 2 months free when they pay a year. And when I did, they said, hey, look, social media ain't doing what it used to for us because they've changed their algorithms and now we're getting nothing. And we need something to help us. And well, of course, we had the conversation about SEO, and they said, well, we know we need to do it. Let's just pull the trigger. And so that may be just something for others to consider, that now would be a good time to talk to those who are frustrated with their social media exposure and needing alternative options.
Right, because when they're doing social media or anything else for that matter, what are they really trying to do? They're trying to get more clients, trying to get more exposure, trying to get more people to their website. So outside of this SEO service, what else are you offering? Are you getting involved in reputation management at all?
I'm a lightweighter on that. We've had this conversation, Justin, before we did the interview, and I need to up my game on that. I didn't personally realize the value until I really had to talk with you about it, and I just haven't gone in to change all of my pricing out. But I do have a couple reputation management packages. I know I could sell a lot more if I would just sell it. It's just a matter of what you put your focus on, and so I'm fixing to up my game on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So reputation management, another product release I recently put out and I'm making available is blogging. We did find a third-party source that we can use to easily integrate blogging into the SiteSwan website. And when people write their blogs, it shows up on their website. The URL address is true to their website and branding. And it also has powerful SEO features built into their editor as they're writing their content. It gives them recommended suggestions on how to reword it. it, so it's SEO optimal. I have do-it-yourself packages, done-with-you packages, and done-for-you packages available in the blogging sphere.
Wow. So you got a $49 a month base price that you'll generally charge your clients for their website.
Right.
You've got, I assume, at least that much or double that for reputation management. I know you're getting, I think you might have told me $500 or more per month for the SEO, and then blogging on top of that.
I'm charging $5.99. I'm netting about $300.
So you could really have a client who is signed up for all of these things, who is paying you close to $1,000 a month.
Absolutely,
right?
Easily.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand and recognize sometimes, is that the opportunity to make money goes well beyond just what you're charging them for a website. But it would have been arguably impossible for you to get that client on those additional services without first establishing the website relationship, because of what we just spoke about.
Absolutely.
And that's that level of trust that you can establish.
Yes.
When you can pump out a beautiful looking website for a very reasonable price, get them the results and the satisfaction and customer service that they're expecting, they are more than willing to open their wallet to additional services to pay you for an equally good experience for other items that can help them.
Oh, absolutely. And I think most clients nowadays would rather have everything in-house in one spot, so they don't have to, have 20 different people to call on 20 different items, They just want one guy to simplify their life. And so the more you offer, the more likely it is that you can bring somebody on board. No matter what door they walk through, you can eventually have them walking through all of them.
So whenever I get the opportunity to talk to someone like yourself, I like to discuss some tips for success. And what I know about you has made me think of a few that I would like to go over. And maybe you can offer up a couple of your own personal experiences that would kind of help drive these tips home.
Sure.
So the first one I have is to get out there and meet people and make connections, because I know that personal connections can be very beneficial.
Yes.
They come with the added benefit of getting to know more people in your neighborhood, especially. So I know that you value that as an asset when it comes to building up a web design business. Is that right?
It is. And one of the neatest things that's happened to me in my hometown is there's a local coffee shop. The owners are people of faith, and so I connect well with them. They also get to meet and greet a lot of business owners that come in and have coffee with them. So they have a large, what I would call a potential referral base. And interestingly enough, you'll get a kick out of this. They connected me with one of their friends who is also a local pastor, and he also owns a t-shirt printing press. We ended up doing business for him, building his website, and now he refers me to all of his clients. And this is the icing on the cake. Since he became my client, his daughter and my oldest son are now engaged, and they're getting married in November. So that's a cool side benefit of just getting out and meeting people. You never know what's going to happen, but from a business perspective, it was definitely a solid connection.
Yeah, even if you can't sell them a website, you can always get your child a soulmate.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, who knew, right? But no, he has definitely been a tremendous referral source for me, and he's a great guy. I try to pay him a commission on the clients he brings my way, and he's like, no, I don't want that. I just want to help you. He's great like that. But that would be one of the tips in that regard, is when you get out and meet folk, try to meet folk that have networks of connections. Find your local printing shop. See if you can't build a rapport with them. If they need a website, build it for them. If not, maybe offer them an incentive to give your business card out, and create referral partners,
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But,
well, another tip I always like to convey is to always be on the lookout for other opportunities. And by that, I mean, when you are out and about talking to business owners, from a sales perspective, you will often uncover other things that they might need or want or could benefit from. And that goes for your active clients as well. You might uncover things that they need or want or can benefit from. And that would mean to you that you have other opportunities to bring in a revenue source and help them.
Yeah.
Have you come across other opportunities that, outside of the add-on services that we mentioned earlier?
So yeah, to answer your question, they're actually, because I'm a visionary, and I have discovered many needs in the digital sphere just as a byproduct of being the guy that can do it. I'll give you a couple of examples if we have the time. First is the ideal directories that the SiteSwan creators make available. What a tremendous opportunity that is. That's a good lead way. Maybe you got a client that's not ready to make a big investment in a website, but they need a web presence and a way for people to see positive reviews. What we're doing is building our directory out to list sites, and some of them are listed for free, quite frankly, just to load it with content and to to let them get a look and feel for it. We even list some coupons for them just to kind of get it out there and get the buzz going in the community. But what ends up happening is I'll find some of their top reviews and I'll transfer them over, and I'll just say source whatever it is, whether it's Google or Bing or whatever, but just make their listing look really good. And then once they see that, and they're like, oh wow, this is great. In fact, I've got a radio station listing, and I figured out a way to put a player code where you can actually play their radio station from their listing. So that was pretty cool. When you wow people like that, then all of a sudden they're like, okay, this guy, if he can make me look this good on a listing, what would a website look like? And so I think, to me, I look at that as a platform to lead into a bigger client, down the road. The revenue stream itself is easy because they can set it up themselves. So that's one. Another thing, my brother called me one day, and this is what he told me. He said, Gary, I need a website where if I want to tell my story of faith to someone in passing, and we don't have time to have a full-length conversation, but I can just put a business card in there and say, hey, can you go watch my story sometime? I need a website where I can do that, just a little scannable QR code. Yeah, I can do that. But then I got to thinking about it, and I said, this needs to be a platform that's duplicatable for anybody that wants to do the same thing. So now we have watchmystory.org, where anybody can go on and build their own testimony website and order business cards that invites people to go watch their story. That's a neat thing. Another one is pet cemeteries. Offer a service where you can do a little website in loving memory of a deceased pet. And you can have this thing where you can just basically copy and paste it for every client and just modify it a little bit. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can go to revisit.life to see that one. You can actually do it for pets or people or whatever, but you can go check that one out. I don't know. I'm very creative. I see opportunities. I'm like, this can go. One day this is going to go really big, So yeah, I mean,
you have to be aware of the opportunities that are presented to you. They're out there. You just have to pay attention. And oftentimes they're right in front of your face. I'm just going to go back to something that you mentioned, the directory website. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Ideal Directories platform, that's our sister company. And what folks like you have obviously done is you realize that businesses that you're selling a website to could really benefit from having an additional online presence. Another source of referral traffic and things of that nature, to get people to their brand and their websites. So they'll start a local business directory for their town or city, which I know you have done under a pretty creative name, right? What was the name you came up with?
The Hollerin' Dollar.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool concept and has really great crossover between website sales, because you could start with one and sell the other, or start the other and sell the one. You could go.
Yeah, and I actually bundle a listing for the locals here in my hometown that buy a website at a certain level. I call it the Golden Bundle. They get a free listing if they subscribe at I think a $79 a month level.
Well, actually, that relates to another tip I was going to talk about today, which is to come up with a great offer. Yeah. Sometimes being able to formulate a package that's at a good price point, that has what people are requiring, needing, asking for, can make for a very attractive offer. So, Golden Bundle, you call it, right?
Yes. Golden Bundle. And so this is what I do. Of course, you can do anything you want to do. That's the beauty of this business. You can create what you want to create and sell it how you want to sell it. But currently, the way I do it is if you buy a Golden Bundle, you get a 10-page website, 5 core pages, your typical, home, about, contact, gallery, and services, something like that. And then you get 5 additional pages that are what I call landing pages to grab traffic from other surrounding towns to make sure that they're getting a broader footprint than just their locality that they're existing at. And that's for SEO purposes. It also lays a beautiful foundation for the upsell of ongoing monthly SEO because they've already got the needed foundation upon which to build. And we also include in that bundle the option of the reputation management. I'm selling it way too cheap, but right now, if they pay $30 more a month, they get the reputation management. I know that's crazy, but anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, and then what else was I going to say? With that also comes a package where we build out citations to dozens of search engines, 75 plus search engines, which are also connected to hundreds of aggregate listing sites to make sure that they have healthy backlinks referring to their website, listing them online so that Google and others recognize them as more of authority and start popping and showing, making sure they're showing up in the local search results. And that's included for that golden bundle. So there's a lot. It's a power pack, a lot, and I'm only charging $2,500 for that build, but I probably should be charging at least $3,500.
Wow! Out of curiosity, you ever sell more than one of those in a day?
I haven't yet. I did sell a golden bundle plus, which basically was an additional $800 to help set up e-commerce, but not having to maintain it, basically connect it. And then I sold a silver bundle, which was one notch below golden bundle in one day. So I have sold 2 websites. In fact, that just happened a couple of weeks ago. It was my biggest day, actually. I've made over $4,000 in one day. I may have mentioned that earlier. I can't remember.
Nice.
So yeah, pretty sweet.
Very nice.
My wife was happy. We went on a date that night, I think.
Hey, you know what? You have to celebrate every little success. I say that in the training program that we put together, is that you owe it to yourself to celebrate everything that happens in a positive way in your business. And you know what? Also celebrate the challenges too, because challenges bring out opportunities.
Yeah.
Another tip I want to go over is to develop a team. So when we have people that work alongside of us, we can get a lot more done and we can actually do a better job sometimes. So I know you mentioned the boys getting involved in your business. Has that helped you quite a bit?
It helps, from time to time. Well, obviously they maintain their own book of clients whenever they sign one on. Also, if I get too backed up and I got what I call an easy client that I need some help with, they know how to go in and basically lay the groundwork, do the tedious stuff to customize that site for that client. And then all I got to do is come back and review what they've done and tweak it a little more to make it perfect. They're time savers for me, and it's helpful to have that team from time to time. The cool thing is you can now get virtual assistants on what is it? Was it called Fiverr? Platforms like that you can hire out of country help. Basically, the American dollar goes a lot further in other countries, and you don't have to pay somebody $75 an hour to do this stuff. You can pay them $5 an hour. You know what I'm saying? You can find help if you know where to look, is what I'm saying. I've got a lady that when we first started our company, she wanted to be one of my own team salespeople, and the way I've got it laid out right now is we have an offer. If you want to work with Kingdom Web Pros and learn the ropes, we have what I call a 60-40 model. If you secure your own lead, you get 60% of upfront and residuals. If I bring a lead and I need you to take it on and manage it, then you get 40% and I get 60%. But when I first started, I had a lady that come on board and it was a 50-50. And she went on to other things, but she's still to this day getting her monthly off of that one sale that she did get. So that's pretty cool. I try to honor my promise. If you bring it, it's yours for the life of the client, And I think you can, we won't get into what I was fixing to say, but anyway. But yeah, partnerships are very doable because people can work wherever they have connection to the internet,
Right. Exactly right. I have another tip that I think you can also contribute to. And that's to not let anyone tell you can't do this.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Interestingly enough, I don't know that this resonates with everyone. And when I say this, some people are going to be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But there is a segment of the Christian population that kind of frowns on a pastor who makes good money. They think, well, if you're in the ministry, and they got their scriptures that they kind of twist out of context to try to support their beliefs and all of that. So I've had to kind of swim through some of that murk and mire and permit myself to do what might be against the grain of some of the people that was in my life at some point. They're probably not there anymore. If they are, I've done went past them because I know what I got to do for my family. I know what I got to do to build a legacy. And I believe that, in my own words, if I might say so, I believe that SiteSwan was built for me. And I think it was a divine connection. That's the way I feel about it personally. And so it's given me tools to build something that I just would not have the time or the capability of doing without it, And so,
And
but
let's
I've had
be
to go
honest
through
too. I
some
mean,
of
if you're working in an ethical fashion, if
Mhm.
you're working especially to help other people, which is exactly what you're doing when you're helping businesses with their website,
that. Yeah.
I can't see how that would possibly be a conflict when it comes
Exactly.
to,
Well, and you just got to realize there's just going to be some of them people,
yeah,
and you just can't let it bother you. You just got to let it roll off your back, like water
so
off a
true.
duck's back. Just keep rolling. And biggest thing I would say is just you got to believe in yourself.
That's right.
If you don't believe in you, it doesn't really matter whether anybody else does or not.
That's
If
exactly
you
right.
can believe in yourself, and look, I want to tell you, I want to encourage you, don't give up. Because no matter how long it takes you to figure it out, it's worth it. Because once you start building, you got one building block, you can lay another one on top of it, and it's just a matter of commitment. You just got to be consistent, and that's my encouragement to you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. So you've started with zero. You're doing this as a side hustle. Now you've been able to build this up a little bit. It feels substantial. But what are your goals with this business? What are you truly looking to accomplish?
Well, the short answer is my big goal in life is to get to the point to where I can make enough money to live off of 10% and give away 90%. That's what I call the J.C. Penney model. I'm told that J.C. Penney did that when he became wealthy. He just got to where he didn't need most of his money, so he just gave it to charity or whatever he believed in. And I would love to be able to do that. Of course, I have figured this out by now. I'm a man of faith, so I would support a lot of missions. I'd also support other things that maybe are not necessarily faith related, but they're good causes, such as the children's hospitals, things like that. But I just want to give back, and I want to try to leave the world in a better place than it was when I showed up. You know what I'm saying?
I love
And
that.
that's from a financial standpoint of what I want to do. And as far as making an impact, my intentions with above all else, with what I can do here at SiteSwan is build resources to equip and enable other passionate pastors to maximize their exposure to the world with their message. If they have the message of life, as I would consider it, then it's important enough to make sure that they can go as far as they can go with it. And a lot of them just don't have the skill set, they don't have the knowledge, they don't know the potential. And if I can walk into their life and make it easy for them to amplify their message and reach thousands of more people, if not hundreds of thousands over a process of time, then I've amplified their voice. And I really believe this is the philosophy that drives me, Justin, is if I can help enough others find their voice, then I will have found my own voice.
There's a lot in that.
I know.
like
I
that.
felt it when I said it.
I like that.
It's about the money, but it's not about the money. Money is
Right.
just really a tool, but the bigger picture is what do you do with it?
Right.
And honestly, I want to leave something for my family,
Mhm.
and I want to know that they're well taken care of and they have a legacy. It's bigger. It's much bigger than money. I have been in the place in my life to where I didn't have any money, but I had everything else that I needed. And there's a lot of people that have all the money in the world, but they didn't have near as much as I had in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you connect both, you can really make a difference. I think that's what my goal is.
That's very commendable, Gary. Very commendable.
Thank
I
you.
love that. So, Gary, how can people find out more about you or follow you on your journey if they wanted to?
So, I thought about that. I guess the easiest way is, look, go check out kingdomwebpros.com and send me a message or call me if you got any questions. I wouldn't mind at all. You can, all those roads lead right to me right now until I have a big team and I don't have to do it no more.
I love it. Well, Gary, you have been, I think, a true inspiration to me, and I think to a lot of the people who are going to end up watching this. I commend you for the progress that you've made and the humble approach you've taken, and I see nothing but future success for you with the amount of ideas that you bring into your business and the opportunities you're expanding into. I have never been so confident in someone's success after spending some time chatting with them. So I wish you the absolute best.
You as well, Justin. It's been a pleasure. And hey, let's do this again sometime.
I would love that. And it makes us feel really good, too, that SiteSwan is at the foundation of what you've been able to create, not just for yourself, but for others. And that certainly means a lot to us and everyone here. So I want to thank you for including us in what you're building, and we can't wait to see what's next.
Well, and I'll say this, Justin, just the fact that you care makes me want to hang around for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And so that means a lot to me as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure, and we really hope you do. I see only good things.
All right.
All right, Gary, thank you so much again, and wish you the best.